stage manager," Hattie began uncomfortably, "is the calm at the eye of the storm. We are the quiet voice of reason amid the squabbling and screaming. We are the solid foundations upon which every stage production is built." She paused a moment. Donna had left behind comprehensive notes, and Hattie had hoped that she would get through her first session by reading the pre-prepared welcoming remarks more or less verbatim. But the words weren't her words, and they sounded ridiculous coming out of her mouth. So she put down her note cards, took a deep breath, and tried again. "Look, it's a tough job, and if I'm honest, I don't really know why we do it. We don't get our names up in lights, we don't take a bow, and we never get the appreciation we deserve. But I'll tell you something. I've been in this industry for not far shy of 40 years, and in that time I have never even considered doing anything else. If you're a theatre person, you're a theatre person. It's that simple." Hattie was in the small performance studio at the Arrowsmith Conservatory of Dramatic Arts, addressing the new intake of the 2-year stage management and technical theatre diploma course. Of the dozen-odd students clustered in the front seats of the auditorium, 2 were scribbling notes furiously. The rest were less engaged. One was doodling on her hand, a couple were playing with their phones, and one overweight, scruffy man, man-in-waiting, late teenager perhaps, was staring slack-jawed straight up at the ceiling. Hattie hoped he was inspecting the lighting rig and not just catatonic. One of the keener students had a copy of Donna Fletcher's The Art and Craft of Stage Management on his lap. Hattie eyed it suspiciously. She didn't believe for a moment that any of the important stuff about being an SM would be learned from a book, and she was secretly unconvinced that it could be taught in a classroom either. But Donna, Hattie's predecessor as stage management tutor at ACDA, had written the damn thing, and it was no wonder that some of the students would have read it. Hattie just prayed she'd get through the term without being interrupted by a sanctimonious youngster, complaining, "But the book says—" Hattie had never been a teacher in any formal sense, but since she'd had to stop touring, she was low on employment options, and when Donna had quit halfway through the summer term, she'd managed to snag the gig as an interim replacement while they looked for a permanent successor. Now at the start of the new academic year, she was tasked with turning these newbies into disciplined, capable entrants into the industry. After having had a look at them, this was feeling like a more and more daunting responsibility. Today was mostly about introductions, though. These fresh-faced first years were still finding their feet, and the last thing they needed was an overload of information. So Hattie tried to keep it general, make it more fun, emphasize that it's hard work, start building up trust. That was what mattered. The thing you need to realize is that as much as anything, the job of a stage manager is to step in when things go wrong. And things do go wrong. Props get lost, scenery falls over, you name it. And that awful cliché about how the show must go on, well, it's only a cliché because it's true. Once the curtain has gone up, your job is to do everything in your power to keep the performance going. I had an actor collapse backstage, and once we'd called the ambulance, we got the understudy into costume and half the audience never even noticed. I did a show once where there was a power cut, and we lit the whole of the second half with the crew's head torches, and it got a standing ovation. She was getting more attention from the students now, and beginning to feel she was getting into the swing of things. Stories, that's what they needed. Tell them facts about what it's like, and they'll be bored. But spin them a yarn, and you'll take them with you. Stories are what theatre was all about, after all.